I had a player who was at Cardiff Football Club. No, the one's talking major glamour here, right?
Can they be named?
I know, of course I can. His name's Kevin McNaughton. And Cardiff were going through a real hard time. And it looked like that Cardiff were maybe getting into liquidation. They were talking about no money, and it was really... And I was going in to renegotiate, possibly renegotiate his contract to stay. And he's like, John, I don't know what I got. You might give me less money than what I'm earning.
What year is this, by the way, John?
Just paper 2010 or something.
Okay.
Something about 11. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do your research somewhere about then. And I always remember we went to the stadium, and he says he was nervous, like might not have a job or less money or whatever, right? Because we didn't have another club for him at that stage. But he's a good player, played right back and he played for a couple of games for Scotland. He made a stalwart for Cardiff, right? An icon, actually. Yeah, a real... If you speak to any Cardiff fan and say Kevin McNaughton, they'll go, oh, wow, right, he's that type of image. But anyhow, I'd been working with him since a kid, and I felt really obligated. I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to do this deal. And what's going to happen? Is he going to even get a deal? Is it going to be less than what he's already on? Now, if I remember right, if I try and get the figures right, it was approximately, at that stage, he was on about £3,000 a week, which is still good money, right, then. But I said to him, so what would you be happy? He says, John, see if I can get 2 years contract and the same money. We've swam the channel. We've done well. Fine. It just so happens when I got into the meeting, there was a new chief executive, and he wasn't exactly the best negotiator. And the manager actually phoned when we were there at the time saying, look, don't lose Kevin, because it's going to cost money to buy another player.
Yeah.
And that was my sentiment when I went to the meeting. I says, look, what's it going to cost you to buy this player? And the boy says, I don't know. I says, well, it's going to cost you about £1 million just to buy this particular. Well, you've got him here just now, and he's going to do as well as a £1 million player, so pay him £1 million wages. That was my argument. So he says, okay, Liv. And we went from 3,000 to a bit more, to a bit more, to a bit more, to a bit more, to a bit more. And we came out the stadium, and the stadium where my mate was waiting, where Kevin was waiting for me, was only about 500 yards, and I felt as if I flew there because I was desperate to tell him about what had happened to me. And he's sitting at the bar. I always remember, the only person in this bar, and they see me, Johnny, what happened? Johnny, if I got a job, much would get his panicking, he's got a wife and 2 kids. Yes. I said, well, what do you think we go, Kevin? He went, did you keep me the same money? I said, a bit more. And he went, 4 grand. I said, no. He said, 5. I said, no. Johnny, come on, you got me more than 5 grand. Money a year? 4 year. What? At 5 grand? No, more. 7? No. 9? No. Cut a long story short, I got them up to £13,000.
Wow.
And he was in a 4-year contract. And look, there's a lot of money for them at the time.
Yeah.
But they got the sentiment, they're going to have to pay £1 million anyhow for a player, plus pay that player 10 grand or whatever. Yeah. And that's what I told him, what are you doing here? And the manager came on the phone and says, look, you've got a guy here when you don't have to pay a fee. Give him what he wants. And you're talking about memorable. And I've done a lot of massive big deals. But memorable, we're just looking at his face. And he's nearly crying, and I'm grabbing me. The two is dancing at that bar. And that's how it sticks with me forever.
Do you become a lot of friends through that?
Yeah.
That experience to kind of...
I was at his wedding. He got remarried just 6 months ago. I was at his wedding. I've been at his parties. He's become a lifelong friend. But there's another one came to mind. I took Christian Carambou. This is if you're thinking about it. You remember Christian Carambou? Carambou, who played for Real Madrid. Do you know Christian Carambou? Right. Go and check him. Christian Carambou just won the World Cup with France. Played for Real Madrid. Just won the Champions League, right? And he wanted to come to England. And I brought him to all places at the time, Middlesbrough. And you're talking about a surreal moment. So we've got this world superstar who I picked up, took him off this jet, right? Taking him to sign for Middlesbrough. Instead of going straight to the normal place you go to, the sporting directors, I said, why don't we go to a local village, which is a beautiful local village called Yarm in Middlesbrough? and we'll go and have a bit of lunch or something today, to break the ice in before we actually go and sign the contract. Great idea. We get to the place, and it was myself and the sporting director. I don't know, call sporting directors at that time, chief executive it was, Christian, who's like massive name for signing for Middlesbrough, myself, and Brian Robson, who you'll know was the manager.
Yeah.
And of course, when it came to ordering a drink, we ordered a Guinness, right? I said, we'll have a pint of Guinness. The chief said, pint of Guinness. And thing says to me, Christian says, I'll have a pint of Guinness as well. So we're all there drinking, he's drinking this Guinness. And then we drank that, then we went away and we had a good, great meeting, and we got the contract signed. And then later that night, he says, that's a bit unusual drink that I had today. He didn't drink. Right. He thought Guinness was a health thing. And we did know later on, she said, no, that's an alcoholic pint of Guinness. And he went, I don't even drink. So the funny story, that story, that's a story that sticks in my mind. I've got thousands of them. But but one that means something to me was taking Kevin McNaughton and getting him that deal, which was great for them as well, because he saved a lot of money because he didn't buy anybody, and he gave himself 4 years and more. He continued on there, and he actually got one of the last guys to get a testimonial from his club.
You mentioned sporting directors. Is that kind of is that significant now within footballing clubs that they needed in terms of dealing negotiations? And they're the people you kind of go to, I presume, in the deal? Yeah. Okay. It's just interesting because you mentioned, obviously, back then there wasn't
so many. Back then there wasn't so many sporting directors. You normally dealt with the manager.
Yeah. Does that make the negotiation more challenging in a sense?
Yes, because I've got a wee bit more about them in terms of understanding what's in a contract. You remember, if you're dealing with a manager 20 years ago who just came off the pitch from managing, and then he's got to sit and negotiate a lot, and that wasn't a skill set. So that's why they changed, a lot of it changed, that the manager doesn't do the deal so much. The manager pinpoints a player, but he says, right, okay, you go and do the contract.
I had the privilege of interviewing Lee Clark about a year ago.
He's a good guy.
And he said the exact same thing in terms of he was responsible for bringing players in. He had a situation where he was loading centre-backs. I don't know if you know this. He had Dan Burn and Cole Bartley on loan.
All right.
And they both got recalled in January. It was in the small print.
Right.
And he was left with no centre-backs. But it was his responsibility because the club at the time had no one in. It was just interesting how that happened.
Well, to be fair, a lot of people at Lee were left to do all of that, and it was, that isn't really their skill set. I don't mean that in a cheeky sense. They have great coaches, have been great players, but they get thrown in at the deep end about doing contracts and dealing with agents, and actually help run the club. Yeah. And a lot of them don't know how to do that. They're learning on the go. So there was a lot of them back then. It was difficult for them to be able to take that on board, if that makes sense.